Hi there, my name is Vince from Mr. Telephone, and today I'm going to talk about telephone junction boxes. For example, the BT78, the BT77, the BT80, etc, etc. Now I'm only going to give you an example of what each of them are on the inside because I've already done videos about how to wire up the BT80 and the BT78. And now, if, for example, you watched a video on the BT78, the same applies for all the other ones. It's just that the BT78 has 8 terminals and the BT77 would have 6 terminals. So that's the only difference between them, so there's no point in doing videos on all of them. But this video will show you the inside of each one, so you know what you're talking about when you come to order one, or if you're not sure which one to order, because it can be a bit confusing, watch this video and then you'll know which ones to get. BT basically means block terminal. So I'm just going to put the camera down now and I'm just going to show you each of the types. Now, if we have a look here, we've got the BT80, the BT78A, the BT77A, the BT77B, the BT89A, and the BT84A. I'm just going to roughly talk about each one. This one here is the BT80A, and I've done a video on how to wire this up, so you can always check that out by looking at my other videos. But basically you would use this wire to connect an external cable to an internal cable. So you have screw terminals here connecting onto IDC terminals here. So for example, the older type drop wires had thicker wires than the internal wires, so you couldn't fit external drop wire cable, the old type, on IDC terminals. The new type you could do, but not the old type. So if you've got the old type drop wire, like the figure of 8, the 1 pair figure of 8 cable, which there's no supporting wires in it, it's just a two thick cables, then they need to be terminated onto the screw terminals here. So they would go onto the A and B, and it corresponds to the A and B on the IDC. So you would use this where an external cable comes in, for example a black cable. You don't want to run the external cable inside because it's tough and it's hard to work with, so you want to run a nice little white cable inside. That's where you would use the BT80. Now we've got the BT77A. Let's do this one next. This is the BT77A. Now this one is 6 terminals joined to 6 terminals. These are all IDC, so you will need a punch down tool like one of these, or a more professional version like this. So you would put the wires in and then you would punch it down. So you need a punch down tool if you're working with this. This is a BT77A. Terminal 1 connects to terminal 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3, 4 to 4, 5 to 5, 6 to 6. So you can connect up to 4 3-pair cables. So you can connect one lot of 6 wires here, another lot of 6 wires, and that will join up to another lot of 6 wires there and another lot of 6 wires. So 4 cables in total. That's a BT77A. The BT78A is very similar to the 77A, apart from it has 1 extra pair of terminals, a 7A. The 77A went to 1 to 6, this one goes 1 to 8. So again, I've done a very in-depth video of one of these, so it's about 15 minutes long, but I'll show you how to connect it all up. So have a watch of it and then you'll understand, and it's relevant for the 77A as well. And again, 1 to 1, 2 to 2, these are all connected together. So whatever you put to number 1 here will go on to number 1 here. Again, you can put 2 wires in each IDC slots, so you can connect up to 4 wires together using this junction box here. So 4 cables. So that's the 78A. You can see why it's getting a bit confusing. Now, this one here is a BT77B. The B stands for screw terminals. So for example, if you didn't want to use the IDC tool, if you wanted to use screw terminals, or if you were using stranded cable. So in an IDC you need to have solid core cable, which is this here. But if you are using stranded cable, then with stranded cable, it has to go on screw terminals because you can't put stranded cable into IDC slots. And again, the beautiful thing about this one is you can actually fit more than 2 cables in each one. I just did a quick test now on this screw terminal here. I'll talk about this junction box in a minute, but I connected 1, 2, 3, 4. I connected very easily 5 cables into that screw terminal there, 5 wires, and they fitted absolutely fine. So what you do is strip a little bit back, give it a very slight twist together, and then you can shove them all in there. I don't like doing that. I prefer using the IDCs, but sometimes you haven't got a choice. If you've got an awful lot of wires coming back to one spot, then you can put them all in the screw terminals. Obviously, all the colour wires would be the same going in there. I've just done this to show you the different wires, how many wires you can fit in there. So 5 fitted quite comfortably in each slot. So that's the 77, that is the 77B. Again, terminals 1 to 1, 2 fits to 2, 3 goes to 3. So they're all jointed at the back by little copper strips on the circuit board. So 1 goes to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3, 4 to 4, 5 to 5, and 6 to 6. So that's the BT77B. This one here is a mix. This is a BT84A, and this is a mix of IDC and screw terminals. So this is a really handy little junction box, this one. For example, you can put all your solid core cables here and your stranded core cables here. Maybe if you were working with alarm cabling, you had to connect it up to the telephone line, you could terminate your telephone wires on this side, the solid core, and the alarm stranded wires on this side here. Works exactly the same as the other junction boxes, 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 connects to this 3, 4 connects to 4 here, 5 screw terminal there, connects to 5 IDC slot there, 6 here, 6 there. And it's a nice little junction box here if you need to do a mix match of cables between stranded and solid core. So that is a BT84A. And lastly, this is unusual here, not a lot of people know about this one. It is a BT89A. Now, you wouldn't really find much uses for this, but basically it looks similar to the 77A, but the difference is they're not connected to each other. Everything is individual here. So number 1 here is not connected to number 1 there. So on the other one, if you put a wire on number 1 here, it will make number 1 here live on the same. So if you put the blue wire, the white blue to here, then the white blue would become live here. On this BT89A, that is not the case. These are all individual. They don't go anywhere. They're just IDCs, independent IDCs. There's no connection at the back joining them together. See if I can pop that out or not. There we go. If you have a look at the back of it, it's not joined to anything. Normally you have little bars going across to join them on the circuit board, but here there's absolutely nothing. They're all independent. So if I was to pop off the back of the 77A, which looks very similar, you will see that there's bars joining the wires together, little circuit tracks. Don't know the proper name for it, but you can see they're joined together. But on this one, they're not joined together. These are all independent. So you would use this if you had to connect a lot of wires together, but you only want it to connect, just pop that back in, you only want it to connect 2 lots. So for example, you could connect 2 wires to this one, 2 wires to this one, 2 wires to this one, 2 to that, 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 and they're all independent of each other. So it would have its uses, but I never normally need to install them anywhere. But maybe if you weren't dealing with telephones, maybe if you were dealing with other sort of low voltage projects and you just wanted to connect a load of wires together, instead of maybe using jelly crimps or screw terminals, you could just use this junction box, because then you'd be able to connect a lot of wires together, you know, so if, you know, one cable to another cable. So it does have its uses. Remember, all these IDC ones here will connect between 0.4 millimeters and 0.65 millimeters in diameter. So there's a bit of a range there. All telephone stuff is 0.5 millimeters, but this will be 0.4 to 0.65. And that is the BT89A. Now, all these items are for sale in my eBay shop, which is www.mrtelephone.co.uk. Yeah, so that's it. Have a look around there. I will put a couple of links in the description below, so you can click straight through to my eBay shop. But have a little browse around, and you will find all of these. They all range from about, you know, around about the £5 mark. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it useful. Please subscribe for more videos in the future. Thanks very much for your time. Take care. Bye now.